can you give us two parts? One, a significance of AI, ML, and the latest developments happening through ChatGPT is
Mhm.
reflected in that. What impact it will have on the countries, human beings across the world,
Mhm.
and how India can leverage out of what India can do from this, right?
Right.
And secondly, why do you think politicians need to have a basic understanding of AI, ML, and ChatGPT?
Right. So, the first thing I would say is that this is a fundamental shift in how intelligence works. And, this is one stage at which intelligence may evolve on its own. Think of it, humanity as a passing phase of the evolution of intelligence, as opposed to us evolving to become intelligence. Now we are talking about evolution of intelligence itself. The way we are seeing these models evolve, they're getting increasingly more capable. So algorithms are becoming smarter, our computer capacities are getting smarter, the amount of data that they consume are getting much bigger. So their capabilities will far outstrip human intelligence capabilities. Now, it's good and bad. Good in the sense that we can deploy that extra intelligence to solve some of the most vexing problems that humanity is faced today, like climate change, newer drug discoveries for medicines, education, and all of that. So we can use it, and therefore there will be development around it. However, there are always, as with any technologies, there are good actors and bad actors will use the same intelligence and technologies for war, for perpetration of their own nefarious interests. So I think we need to understand that technology is moving and it will move and develop, but we need to, as a society, have a view on how do you regulate it, how do you control it. For politicians, and especially for somebody like Rahul Gandhi, who comes from India and represents India, it's important because India has its own needs, and there are areas in which it will help India fight poverty and solve some societal challenge that we are having, and we can use this intelligence to become smarter and do better policy making. But at the same time, this is also going to impact in a different ways, like our jobs. A lot of ITS jobs that we have will become automated, and these kind of models will become much more capable at doing things that we are right now paying people to do. So those jobs will be at risk. So we have to kind of plan. It's not that therefore you should not do AI. Actually, you should, but you have to be thoughtful about how do you deploy it and how do you plan for it. And I think therefore it's important for politicians to understand what are we dealing with here. It's super complicated. It's a step, or it's a different thing. It's not just another software program. It's intelligence that we are talking
Uh, in democracy, leader of opposition plays an important role,
about.
although he's not a parliamentary right now,
Right.
but he's one of the most important voices of opposition leaders in the country.
Right.
Uh, what kind of thing that he should do? You like to set a message to him?
I think as a leader of opposition, I think he should hold the government accountable. Ultimately, the government which is in power holds the power to affect policies and take decisions to control or to manage whatever technological change that is happening. But as a leader of opposition, if the government is not responding, or if the government is not necessarily doing things that they should be doing, he can be the voice. He can champion the voice by developing his understanding. I am super pleased the fact that he's actually talking to people like us and others who understand this space so that he can develop his knowledge. I think yesterday he called that two people cannot have all the knowledge of the universe. So I think I like the fact that he's listening. So it's important for him to understand it, and then he can be our voice, and he can be the voice that government has to listen to. I think he has a loud voice, and people listen to him. So that's
So,
important.
what kind of role AI can play in helping him perform his duties?
Well,
What do
I
you think?
think, you could use AI as a tool for various things. Unfortunately, you know how technology can be misused, and a lot of technology has been misused against him
Right,
for good or bad. And we know that, right? Just 2 days back, there was a photograph of all the wrestlers who were protesting,
right,
morphed image where they were smiling. That was a fake image generated using AI. So you see how AI is already being used negatively.
right,
So I think you can use AI constructively. Like for example, if you have to understand an area, you want a quick gist, you can already go to ChatGPT or Bard that Google has to get a summary. And you don't know a thing, instead of doing a search, you can ask them the question and get their answers. I think those are, because it is much more knowledgeable than any one person can be. So you can leverage that technology to get knowledge, be much educated, and all that. But as a politician, I'd say that just connect with the people and understand what is happening, understand the technology and world, how this is changing, because that will help define the policy. I think their role is policy making and direction and leadership in that extent. So I think they can definitely leverage this part of it.
Things like inter-party democracy, a selection of candidates, the speeches,
Yes.
speech writing. These are the
You
tools.
Yes, you could. Technically, you could. Ultimately, my view is that, right now the language models also hallucinate. There are limitations of what they do. Their response is very bookish. It's not necessarily real. It seems like I've done it and I've seen it a lot of times. It will reach eventually a stage where it will become much better than the best speech writers that we've ever had. But right now, it will essentially consume and spew something similar. So right now, it's not replacing human. Not today. It's gonna enable better speech writing. Maybe it can do some amount of fact checking and all that. However, in future it can definitely write speeches and everything. I think on the inner party democracy and selection, I think you don't need AI for it. Like, if you believe in democracy, then you know what you believe in and what it stands for. You either believe in it or you don't believe in it. If you believe in it in entirety, then you practice it in entirety. There is no two-way game here. Like, if you talk about Gandhi and Nehru, and you talk about Subhash Bose and everybody else, those are the kind of leaders who made the country that we live in today, right? And that idea, you can either agree with that idea or not agree with that idea. The choice is, which idea do you stand for?
One last question. Last 9-10 years, India has had quite a good lot of progress in digitization.
Right.
And Prime Minister Modi is also coming next a
Right.
few weeks from now on a state visit.
Right.
So similar kind of thing. What would be your message to him? How his government can leverage the latest technology, AI,
Right.
machine learning in governance, good governance,
Right. I think, he's the
development for all.
Yes, he's the prime minister, and I think he has the executive power to take decisions right now. And I think he should use that power to, build institutions. See, when we got independent, we didn't have the atomic energy power or space technology power. These are institutions that were built at that time, engineering colleges and stuff, that on basis of which we are standing today proud and in the world known for our IT prowess, software and technology or space technology. I think he has the power right now as a prime minister to build those institutions. Like he laid the foundation for the new parliament building and inaugurated with a fanfare. He should also lay the foundation of institutions that can further India's capability in artificial intelligence, in drug discovery, in all the future cutting edge technology. The future belongs to those who hold the power on technology. Look around. If US is leading and China is leading and South Korea is leading and Japan is leading, they're largely leading because the leadership in the modern day is about technology leadership. Who people or countries which lead in technology are leaders, and they generate wealth for the people and take people out of the poverty. I think he, as a prime minister, then has the power right now to do, and for future prime ministers too, whether it's him or somebody else. I think that's what they need to do, because we all serve the country, right?
Right.
Like, he's the prime minister of a country, so it's all the service of the nation. So you do
Name
things.
one institution he should do it right.
Well, I think he should immediately set up something on the AI front and invest. Like, we have IITs and others, and there are technology research going on. He should probably set up a venture fund, by the way. I think he should set up a venture fund which can acquire some startups here. Silicon Valley will always be the fountainhead of innovation. We fund those innovations and support them so that it becomes Indian. And, think of a PSU that he can create in this space, which can, pay the best and, get the best and the brightest to work for the betterment of India, right?
A venture fund like it is.
Yeah.
How big that fund should be.
Well, I
Few
can't.
billions?
No, it doesn't have to be few billions, by the way. Most of the venture capitals that people work for or others, they don't work with $1 billion. I think you're talking about an order of millions of dollars. You can start with even a 50 million or 100 million, and you can start investing in some of these startups which are doing in cutting edge and have a stake in it. You have the workforce there, and create a company that works in the forefront. Like, why shouldn't one of the leading AI startups be an Indian startup right now? And government can play a stake.